You guys ready for this?
Hello and welcome to episode 51 of Popcorn and Prosecco, a show that's all about talking about movies. I'm Perri Nemiroff, and here are my co-hosts, Kristy Puchko.
Hey, everybody.
And Angie Han.
Hi.
All right, so this time around, we are talking about Ghostbusters, because there's some awesome Ghostbuster news that we want to talk about. And then we're going to hit our big review of the week, Project Almanac, and then we're going to jump into our caption contest, which has a little something to do with the Fantastic Four trailer that just dropped. But back to start, Ghostbusters. Angie, you want to take that?
Yes, so after years and years of rumors about, a new Ghostbusters movie, there's finally some real progress on it. So I guess a couple months ago, Paul Feig was finally confirmed to direct it. And this week, we finally found out who was going to star in it. It's going to be Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, both from Bridesmaids, and then Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon, both from Saturday Night Live. I am so excited about this cast. I don't know about you guys. Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy kind of seem like obvious choices because of Bridesmaids, and I'm not complaining. I'm really glad that they're in it. But I was really surprised that he went with Kate McKinnon and Leslie Jones, who are, as much as I like them and as talented as they are, they're not as well known as some of the other names that are flying around. So I'm really excited to see what these people are going to do with it, because I don't follow SNL that closely, so I don't know Leslie Jones pretty well, but I've liked what I've seen of her, and I fucking love Kate McKinnon. She cracks me up every time. What do you guys think?
I agree. I was excited. Like, Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy, we kind of expected. That was kind of, as soon as they said Paul Feig, everybody was like, oh, well, they're going to be in it. And I'm on board with that because I think they're both really funny, and I think that they bring a lot of energy and excitement to different roles. So I'm excited about that. But, for me, Kate McKinnon, guys. I love Kate McKinnon. And it's exciting to actually see her get to do something. Because, I saw a movie at Tribeca, I think, last year or the year before, only because she was in it, and she just played someone's girlfriend for 2 seconds, and I was like, what a waste! So, Kate McKinnon's going to be in this movie. And it's, because there's only 4 of them, even if she's, the one with the least lines, she's still going to have so much time to make things so funny, and I'm so excited about it. And I was both surprised, and then after thinking about it, I was like, oh, obviously you pick people from SNL because, this is going to sound so obnoxious, but I got to go to dinner with Paul Feig once with, a bunch of other journalists. It was literally, my boss couldn't go and was like, do you want to go? And so I felt like such an imposter. But I was the first one to talk to him, because of course I was. And I just was like, oh, everyone else is nervous. I'm nervous too. I dressed up for you. And then we talked. It was fine. God. Anyway.
You have to dress up for him. He is the most well-dressed person I've ever met in my life.
The invite was super fancy, and I was like, I have to dress up, and I'm not a dress-up person. The whole thing. Anyway. But I did fine. But what I was saying is, he watches Saturday Night Live, religiously, and was actually talking a lot about the talent on that when we met, which was, when The Heat was coming out on DVD. So it was a while ago. And he was actually talking, at length about everything. So, it does not surprise me. And also, he's, friends with some people on the show. It doesn't surprise me that he pulled from that talent pool, especially some of that talent pool right now is just on fire. I mean, Kate McKinnon, I just feel like
she's the best. I can watch her all night. But I like Ghostbusters, but I'm not some diehard Ghostbusters fan who's been dying to see the material resurrected. And even when they first announced the whole female Ghostbuster movie, I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. But this cast definitely has me more hyped than I've ever been. And, again, even though I'm not that into Ghostbusters, I'm very into Bridesmaids, so this kind of feels like the Bridesmaids reunion that I never got.
That's true, because for years there were, people keep asking Kristen Wiig, are you going to do another Bridesmaids? And she keeps being like, probably not. But now this is the closest thing we're going to get. There's also a rumor that he doesn't have yet, but wants Peter Dinklage to play one of the villains, and Bill Murray to play a different character. But those are things that he wants. Those are not confirmed. Well, if he got them, I would be over the moon.
I think all that information was then redacted, right?
Well, I'm just going to say he has a tendency to do that, because I've learned that Paul Feig tends to, say stuff before he's supposed to. So, just throw that out there. He's a lovely man, though. But anyway, but what I thought was interesting is, I was totally against there being a Ghostbusters 3, especially because when Dan Aykroyd talked about it, everything sounded terrible. He's like, the Ghostbusters are dead and are in hell. I'm like, fuck you! So, and I'm not one of those people that just thinks because the original people are involved, it's going to be amazing. So I was, really dreading that. And then they're like, we're going to reboot it, which I was not necessarily on board for, but I kind of thought, at least with a reboot, there's no commitment to just trying to fill these pieces that Ghostbusters did so beautifully.
Yeah.
So, there was also so much negativity surrounding the original group coming back, right?
Well, no, the people were more on board for that than they were. Well, like, but Bill Murray not being on had a lot of people turned off. Like, if Bill Murray wasn't
he like not the nicest guy about it too? Like, didn't he say a couple negative quotes or something?
He said like the most thinly veiled things ever. Like, and it's basically like he doesn't want to talk bad about Dan Aykroyd, it seems, but it's like the scripts that Dan Aykroyd kept teasing all sounded like garbage. And like every couple, like at one point I did like a breakdown for Cinema Blend where I was like, look, they said this, and they said this, and it was just infuriating. So I was not in favor of a reboot. Then they said they were giving it to Paul Feig, and they were going to have a female cast. And to me, that said, we're actually going to do something different with the material. We're not just going to cast Jonah Hill and act like he's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
So that was something I was interested in.
I mean,
but I feel like we can't talk about this casting without talking about the backlash. Okay, I'll take that up. So the thing is, I understand, like, a lot of people are basically acting like if you're excited about this, then you're only excited about it because it's a female cast. And if you're not excited about this, that means you're a misogynist. And I don't think that's true. I think that people can still be annoyed that they're doing a reboot at all, or people can just not be a fan of these particular actresses, which I don't understand. But I mean, I get that that's a thing. But there has been a very evident sexist backlash on Twitter, especially, of just people literally being like, there was one on, like, Pajiba was covering, like, stupid tweets that people had, and some guy was like, I mean, it's like period busters, am I right? Which, like, is not a thing. It's not funny or clever.
We got a couple, very negative, nasty comments as well.
Everybody did.
You know what, though? Like, there's always going to be people being like, you're destroying my childhood, but it's going to happen whether they like it or not anyway. It's going to come out, people are going to see it, and then they're going to judge it on its own merits when it comes out.
Exactly.
So like, in some, I am on board so far. I mean, there's a lot more factors that we don't know, but so far I think we're off to a good start.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And to all the people who are hating specifically because it's female, I say fuck you. And to all the people that are just still not on board for a reboot, I get you. Let's hang in there and hope it's good because
it inspires me to watch some more SNL because I don't really care for SNL, but like now I kind of want to know what some of these people are all about. I mean, Kate McKinnon I know, but let's get on to the next thing because we're running over.
Yeah, so let's move on to Project Almanac is our big review for the week. And Project Almanac is about a group of teens who discover secret plans for a time machine and construct one. However, things start to get out of control because it's a time travel movie, and that's how things work. So, this movie was actually...
I feel like the IMDb synopses are just like a joke.
No, that was fine.
I guess.
I like the synopsis. It's
or
so
maybe
clean,
it's just that you
simple,
can't help but to read it with like that tone to your voice.
I don't know. Every week we read it, and you get like in such a fit about it.
I do.
It's like it becomes a whole digression.
Because I can write better log lines than that. Okay, sorry, off track. Keep going.
So anyway, Project Almanac is a time travel movie about teenagers, and there's some aspects of it that are really fun. That you've seen in the trailers where it's like, what would you do if you were a teenager and had time travel powers? Of course you would win the lottery. Of course you would pick on that bitch that's picking on you after class.
Just now when you were like, there are aspects of it that are really fun, I was like, were there? Okay.
Legit.
And then I was waiting to see what you were going to say, and...
I like that part of it. I thought it was funny. My problem with this movie is that it takes way too long to get going.
Oh,
and then when it does get going... it picks, like, the least interesting path to go down.
Well, I have to say, like, so I was watching it, and at some point, I remember just being like, how long have I been sitting in this fucking theater to watch a time travel movie, and no time traveling happened?
That's funny, because that's the exact reason why I liked it so much. I saw it back at Comic-Con, which I'll admit might have had a different vibe to it, with a different audience, and we were all really pumped for it. And that's what I appreciated more so than anything about this movie, is that it actually took the time to sell the characters as people who were capable of building a time machine and run through what they needed to put it together.
It sold the boy characters as people that were typical.
Oh, yeah.
The girl characters are literally walking around being like, science.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
But
like, science wasn't their thing. It was the guys' things. They had their own things.
But it's so, like, blaringly obvious that, like, there's only 3 women in this movie. One of them is a mother who has, like, 3 lines, which I don't care that the mom doesn't have a lot of lines in a teen movie, because that's just what happens. But then, like, one is a sister who is only there to ask stupid questions or occasionally have her boobs ogled by the Asian kid. And the other girl is just a skinny, pretty girl who has, like, no, like, science knowledge at all. And it was just like, why couldn't, like, a girl be good at science? Or at least ask a good question once in a while. And instead they're just always like, so what does this do? Whoops.
I guess
hear
that is definitely a fair assessment of those characters, but it in no way took away from the fun I had with the whole scenario.
I'm surprised you had fun with it, honestly. Just
I loved it.
It's so long.
I thought it was really boring, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a long time to get going with the science, but my bigger problem actually is, like, you guys were talking about the characters, and, you know, leaving aside the question of whether it's, you know, shitty that the females are bad at science, all the characters were just so thinly drawn. Like, you get to know the main character a little bit, but he's, like, kind of just, like, a generic nice person. Like, there's, like, really not that much else to him. The girl, like, the hot girl, the girlfriend, like, her only role is to be the hot girl. The other two male characters have no distinguishing personality traits whatsoever. One of them, I guess, is, like, a little bit, of a...
The two of them were, like, my favorite parts of the movie. I thought they brought more life to it than anybody else.
They're funny, but they're not well drawn. And I mean,
Well,
like, even...
They're very thin. They're, like, very paper-thin archetypes, and it never gets past that.
And none of them are, but, like, that's kind of the point of this movie, you know?
But that made it hard to care.
It's a teen found footage movie, and, like, I will admit there is no depth to it at all, but as like a time travel adventure, I was totally swept up in it. I liked the characters, and I had fun.
I was really bored by the characters. I thought the main kid was kind of a douchebag, especially because, like, they lay out that he did something shitty, and then he basically just does it again anyway, which I was like, oh, okay, fine. And then, like, I just thought he was such a dull character to hang the movie on. And then the two characters that are his, like, friends, I thought were funny, because they get to be funny. But they're, like, indecipherable, except one of them is, like, one of them is basically Gene Belcher from Bob's Burgers, but, like, in human flesh. And so he's a dope, and he gets distracted, and he genes out, but he's still smarter at science than the two girls in the movie. Like, I know I'm bringing in the gender roles thing a lot, and it did bug me because it's totally one of those movies that falls into, like, we'll put girls in the movie, but only to have them, like, show off their cleavage and be dumb. But, like, moreover, I was just bored. It takes, like, I feel like, and I didn't check my watch, but I should have. I felt like it was, like, 40 minutes before they actually time travel.
That's what I just said.
It definitely is a while.
I mean, my watch. It's 40 minutes.
The whole first act of the film requires them to put the machine together, because what happens in the movie is
how many scenes do we really need to watch of actors pretending to do science? I was just
I found that far more satisfying because they had to earn it. It wasn't just like, oh, we have the secret to time travel and we just happened upon it. We're gonna, like, get all these pieces and put it together and follow the plans that the dad started, and then I'm like, all right, I bought it and you earned it, so go time travel now and have fun.
But they never, like, made sense anyway, because it was just like, they were like, we need all these batteries, we need a more powerful battery, now we need hydrogen, which, like, the hydrogen heist takes so much time, and it's so uninteresting, and it's just like, this is stuff that could have been, like, condensed and made it such a shorter, more effective movie, because I feel like I wouldn't have cared so much that the characters were thinly drawn if the movie was, like, rollicking and well-paced, but I just felt like it took such time. And, like, the other thing, I watched a lot of time travel movies, and they reference a lot of them in the movie, and not clever, they're just like, hey, have you guys seen Looper?
Hey,
and, like,
look, now they're watching Bill and Ted.
And Groundhog's Day, guys! Like, they literally just say stuff, and it's like, okay, so you know these movies exist, but did you not study the mechanisms of what makes them work? And, that was another thing, the girl didn't even know who Doctor Who was, which I understand people may not watch Doctor Who, but, like, if you're on the internet, you know that Doctor Who is a time travel thing.
I don't think that's true. I think a lot of people don't know who Doctor Who is. I think you know who Doctor Who is. I think a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But
I feel like if I went up to Lonnie and I'm like, who's Doctor Who? She might be like, what?
But I want to talk about something else that really just irks me about this movie, and that was the whole found footage thing. I mean, there are times when I watch found footage movies and it's pretty well done. A lot of times those are the ones where the camera work is slightly more professional than, like, an amateur might do it. This was not one of those movies. Like, the camera is just, like, always shaking all over the place. There's a lot of, like, unnecessary close-ups, so that I kept spending my time being like, why are we zoomed in on this person? What is going on? Like, what is even happening? It's just, and on top of all of that, if you're gonna do a found footage movie, you need to know that you have to justify every second of the camera rolling. This movie does not do that. They are always filming at, like this. So the behind the camera usually is the girl who is the sister of the main character, and she's constantly shooting her brother making out with his girlfriend, which is so creepy if you think about it for even half a second. It's another movie where, like, every time a character is running, they're still, like, trying, like, they're apparently running like this, like, holding the camera.
isn't holding the camera is so someone else can hold the camera to look down her top. Like, that's... And it is that thing, though, where they don't justify why she's running the camera all the time. Like, all the time. Like,
they're just
all
like,
the
hey,
time, all the
guys, let's
time.
film everything.
Yeah,
and then
they're
that's
just
it.
like,
That's like
Kristen,
the only...
run it all the time. And you're like, no, but like, when they say all the time, they mean all the time they're working on the time machine, not like also casually at school all the time. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And there's like, yeah, no, that's the other thing. They're like in class filming things, and it's like, what kind of like high school teacher just lets you be running a camcorder throughout the entire class for no reason?
It brings nothing to the movie that it's found footage.
It's
No.
funny because having watched a lot of found footage horror movies, because traditionally
that's
that's where found footage belongs. What not belongs, but
Where it is,
technically gets like shoved most often. But I actually, now that you say it, that makes sense. Like, why the hell would they be shooting in school in a classroom? But while I was watching it, I was taken enough that I didn't look at it. But I will admit, when I saw it at Comic-Con over the summer, I walked out a little dizzy. But at the time, I semi-blamed it on the shooting style, semi-blamed it on the fact that I was on 2 hours of sleep. But it is very, very shaky cam.
I actually think that this is a movie that would have worked better if it wasn't found footage, because the found footage thing to me was incredibly distracting and added nothing to the movie. I mean, one of the conceits of found footage is that it's supposed to make it feel more realistic and kind of like give you a closer connection to the characters, but it failed on both fronts because, like I said, there were so many moments where I was like, why is the camera running? And because of the way it was shot, like I just never got a sense that I understood what was going on, and I wished so much that we could just zoom out with a professional camera that would stay still for 2 fucking seconds.
It's really starting to seem like such a lose-lose situation with found footage. Because really, when is the last time you've actually seen it used where it feels necessary?
Troll Hunter.
I was gonna say, other than a documentary team.
No,
That's really the only route to go. Because I was gonna say Troll Hunter too.
Troll
there are ones that are done better. Like Chronicle was done pretty well. The Bay, which is a horror movie that came out a couple years ago that not many people saw, that one was done really well.
Falls apart. Chronicle falls apart in the third act when the camera's just
does.
like at all ends for no reason at all. Which
It does, but it still works for most of it.
It's got a similar issue here in terms of like motivation, because the sister does come off as a creep. It's funny because we went to set, and that's one of the shots that we saw. You know that shot where he's talking to the girl by the wall, and it's this really wide angle, and it's funny because I think I'm the one that asked the question in the interview. I'm like, so who's holding the camera? What's the perspective? And because it's a stalker shot.
Also, it strains credulity and whatever, but it's just that found footage just too easily become the thing that filmmakers do so that they don't have to pay for coverage and they can have a faster shoot and they can make a fast and dirty, quick little movie. But, like, that didn't work with this because then they sat on the movie for how many years?
They sat on this for a while. They shot in the summer of 2012 or 13? I think it must have been 13.
And the funny thing about it is that if you watch the commercials, it has the actors looking into camera being like, we didn't want anyone to get hurt, blah, 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 blah. And they're clearly older, and that's why, guys. Because they can't cut together an interesting trailer from what they have, and so they had to call the actors back.
Wait, what?
That trailer's not good.
Really?
I don't like that.
Oh, I don't mean if it's good or not, but there's shots in the trailer that you think they shot after?
I haven't seen
because
the
they're
trailer.
looking directly at the camera and they're saying stuff like, it's the Blair Witch moment of like, we're really sorry, we didn't mean to
Wow.
Yeah, like, I mean, they look
I need
older.
to go rewatch that trailer.
I think that the main kid is not in it, though, which I wonder if he looks too different. They were just like, never mind.
Well, he's like a big hulking guy now.
Oh, so that would be why.
Yeah.
Because in this, he looks like Justin Bieber before Justin Bieber got it all tatted out, but like with like shaved head. I was like, he was like almost adorable.
I don't know about him.
Ooh, and this is a pet peeve of mine. I know it doesn't matter in the scheme of things, but I hate it when characters in movies wear glasses and then just don't for no apparent reason. Like, he would have them and then he would just take them off and decide he wasn't going to wear them.
It's so true. As someone who wears glasses, it's very frustrating. Because, like, if you
There
wear
are
glasses,
people who only wear reading glasses, though. Even young people.
But it's different. They don't treat it properly. Because if you're wearing reading glasses, you can't just walk around with reading glasses all the time. They're made for, like, close up
What about people who wear contacts sometimes and glasses sometimes? They're also
he
those
doesn't
people.
change it
Cat
up.
cameo. Sorry.
I know. Oh, Roger, you're not supposed to be there. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like we should wrap this up. But, I mean, I think it's clear from Angie and I's perspective, this is a skip. But Perri, do you want to
I would recommend it. I think if you're into found footage movies and you kind of like that teen group vibe, I think it's a fun adventure film. I wouldn't say go into it looking for, like, all the fine details, looking for deep characters and, you know, the science behind time travel. But if you want, like, kind of almost like mindless fun, like an adventure, go for it. What the hell?
Emphasis on mindless.
Stop making... You know I can see you. Like, I see you making faces.
I can't help it. It's
Don't listen to her. Go see Project Almanac.
No.
I'm
not, like, making them to, like, undermine you. I just can't stop my face.
All right. On that note, on to the last part of the show. And it's our caption contest, which we are absolutely loving and hope you guys are loving too. And this time around, we have our winner from the Strange Magic one. And, drumroll, it's Meryl Barr. And here is his caption. Your disproportionate fingers will waft perfectly into my perfectly gelled spiked hair. Give it a shot. Yeah! Yay, Meryl!
So thank you, at Meryl Barr.
All right, so this time around, we are not going to go with a picture from a new release, but rather the Fantastic Four trailer, because it is finally here. And after all that negative buzz, it's not even that bad. It's not the greatest thing ever. Like, I definitely think it is a little slight on story. I do prefer the fact that the trailer focuses more on mood and tone than it does on dishing out narrative details and showing, like, action, explosion, whatever. But at the same time, let's say someone who knows absolutely nothing about Fantastic Four watches this trailer, they're probably going to feel nothing. But as someone who does know a little about it, I saw that and I'm like, ooh, I like the feel of this. It's exciting to see this new version of these characters. So I'm kind of hopeful all of a sudden.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, I also really dug that it seemed to have a really strong sense of what the mood and the tone of this movie is, which is not something we could say for, say, the Ant-Man trailer, the last comic book trailer that we covered on this podcast. But this one had, like, a really, like, I was like, oh, okay, this is a movie that, like, knows what vibe it's going for and is, like, going out to reach it. Granted, it's just a trailer. It could be that the movie is all over the place, but you know, it seemed like it was a really good first look. I also liked seeing all the various characters, but I mean, I feel like Fantastic Four is kind of going to live or die by how good the chemistry is between the four main characters, because the whole point is that they're like a family, and we didn't get to see any of that. But you know, they've still got a few months to show us more stuff, and this I think did the trick of making me want to see more of this movie.
I was actually a little disappointed just because I expected with the talent they brought into this, which is what, Jamie Bell, Kate Mara,
Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah. So those are four really charismatic, interesting actors, and this trailer I don't think like showed that kind of personality and that kind of excitement. And
No,
I
you're
don't
right.
know, I was underwhelmed.
Hopefully the next one.
Yeah. There's just so much you can squeeze into a trailer, especially a first teaser. So, with Fantastic Four trailer coming out, we are going to do a caption contest with an image from it, and here it is. This is my version. Okay.
The picture's going to go over that. So
I know. I'm so disappointed. All right. So, you know the rules. We are going to post it on Twitter, and we want you to reply to our Twitter account so we could see your caption submissions, and then next week we will announce the big winner. So, on that note, that is a wrap on episode 51 of Popcorn Prosecco. You can find us all over the place. Go to iTunes, rate us, comment, because that is super helpful. You can watch us on YouTube. We are on Facebook. Go like us there. We are on Twitter. You could tweet at us and we'll talk to you. And then also the three of us are all over the internet as well. Angie, you want to take it first?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at AJHAN, and you can find my writing at /film.com.
Kristy?
And I'm at Kristy Puchko on Twitter, KristyPuchko, and you can find my career highlights at decadentcriminals.com, because I write all over the place.
And you can catch me on Twitter at Perri Nemiroff, and I write for Collider.com. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Happy Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that.
That's a thing.
I want to see if this works. Have you guys ever seen the movie Looper?
No. God, I love that movie.